Welcome to Wenger Arsenal Daily. Welcome back, everyone. A massive welcome to every single person reading this post today. Whether you have been with the Wenger Arsenal Daily community for years or you're finding us for the very first time, we are really glad you are here. This is the home of honest, passionate, and properly informed Arsenal content. We cover every story that matters to Gooners, and we do it with real love for this football club. If you're not already subscribed to the Wenger Arsenal Daily YouTube channel, please go and do that right now. Seriously, we are one of the most trusted Arsenal channels on the internet. We do not make up stories. We do not chase clicks with nonsense. We give you real analysis, real transfer information, honest opinions, and everything else a proper Arsenal fan needs to stay properly informed. Go and subscribe to Wenger Arsenal Daily on YouTube and make it your #1 source for Arsenal news. The whole community is there waiting for you. Now, let us talk about a transfer story that broke today and has been spreading fast across every Arsenal fan group, every football forum, and every corner of social media where Gooners gather. Because this one is big. This one has real implications. And every Arsenal fan needs to understand exactly what is happening and what it could mean. The special one is back, and he wants one of ours. Let me start with a question. What is the one thing that can take the shine off a beautiful summer for Arsenal fans who have just watched their club win a Premier League title and go all the way to the Champions League final? A transfer story telling you that one of your best defenders is being targeted by one of the biggest clubs in the world. That is exactly what we woke up to today. Jose Mourinho, the man they call the special one, has officially agreed to become the new manager of Real Madrid. And according to multiple Spanish reporters who cover Real Madrid very closely, the first thing Mourinho has done after agreeing to take the job is hand his new club a specific transfer wish list. A list of players he wants to bring in to start his rebuild at the Bernabeu. And on that list, right there alongside Inter Milan's Denzel Dumfries and Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate, is the name of an Arsenal player, Ricardo Calafiori. Real Madrid specialist reporters Ramon Alvarez de Mon and Sergio Valentin have both declared that Mourinho specifically wants Calafiori. When listing the reinforcements Mourinho asked for after agreeing to become Real's manager, Valentin wrote the names Dumfries, Konate, and Calafiori directly. So this is not a rumor that has been floating around loosely. This is coming from people who cover Real Madrid specifically, who have insider knowledge of what Mourinho is telling the club he wants. And it is coming from two separate journalists independently pointing to the same name. That makes it a story that Arsenal fans absolutely need to take seriously. So today we're going to dig into everything. Who Calafiori is and what he means to Arsenal. Why Mourinho wants him specifically. What Arsenal's current stance is. And whether this is a transfer that Gooners should genuinely be worried about. First, who is Jose Mourinho, and why is his Real Madrid return such big news? Before we talk about Calafiori himself, let us make sure everyone understands exactly what is happening with Mourinho and Real Madrid, because the context matters. Real Madrid have had a deeply disappointing season. They finished second to champions Barcelona in La Liga and were eliminated in the Champions League quarterfinals, making it 2 years in a row without a major trophy. For a club of Real Madrid's size and ambition, 2 trophy-less seasons is completely unacceptable. The pressure to act decisively was enormous. Jose Mourinho has now been appointed as the new Real Madrid manager on a 3-year deal. He will not be officially unveiled until after the club's presidential election, which is scheduled for June 7th. So the announcement is imminent. The deal is done. Mourinho is going back to the Bernabeu. Mourinho has managed Benfica this season in Portugal, turning them into a tough team to beat. They were unbeaten in the league under him and reached the Champions League knockout rounds. But the chance to manage Real again was too big for him to turn down. This is Mourinho's second spell at Real Madrid. He was there between 2010 and 2013, and during that time, he won 3 major trophies, including a La Liga title. He knows the club. He knows the expectations, and he knows that to get Real Madrid back to the top, he needs to rebuild the squad quickly and bring in players who fit his way of playing. Sources have told ESPN that there is a climate of uncertainty and tension at Real Madrid as staff await developments this summer, with some fearing a clear-out and a high turnover of staff in various departments on Mourinho's return. This is a manager who comes in and takes complete control. He does not do things halfway. When Mourinho arrives at a club, he reshapes everything. The squad, the staff, the mentality. And his transfer wish list is the first sign of exactly what direction he intends to take Real Madrid. And Calafiori is on that list. Does the idea of Mourinho being back at Real Madrid worry you as an Arsenal fan? Let us know what you think. Ricardo Calafiori, who he is and what he means to Arsenal. Now let us talk properly about Calafiori, because some fans might look at this story and think he has not played enough to be a major concern. But let us be very clear. Calafiori is one of the most important players Arteta has at his disposal. And the fact that Mourinho has specifically identified him tells you a lot about how good this player genuinely is. While he is primarily a left-back, Calafiori is also comfortable playing at center-back, which is one of the reasons Mourinho wants him. That versatility is incredibly valuable in the modern game. A defender who can operate at left-back or center-back at the highest level gives a manager enormous flexibility in how they set up and how they respond to injuries and different opponents. Arsenal paid 44 million euros plus up to a further 5 million euros in add-ons to purchase Calafiori from Bologna in the summer of 2024. He made 36 competitive appearances for Arsenal this season, contributing 1 goal and 3 assists. But those numbers alone do not capture what Calafiori brings. He is not just a defensive player who sits back and does the simple things. He is a ball-playing defender who can carry the ball forward, join attacks, and play passes that most defenders cannot see. He is technically excellent. He is brave. He reads the game intelligently. And he is only 24 years old, meaning his best years are completely ahead of him. During the 2025 to 2026 campaign, Calafiori ousted the talented Miles Lewis-Skelly as Arsenal's starting left-back. However, ill-timed fitness issues have meant he has had to watch Piero Hincapié fill in for him at various points. There's also a fascinating backstory here. When Arsenal first signed Calafiori back in the summer of 2024, he reportedly rejected approaches from Real Madrid and Juventus as he only wanted to join Arsenal. He gave his word to the Gunners and snubbed several European powerhouses to ensure he joined Mikel Arteta's side. Let that sink in for a moment. When Calafiori was choosing his future 2 summers ago, he turned down Real Madrid to come to Arsenal. He chose Arteta's project over the Bernabeu. And now Real Madrid are coming back for him through the back door, this time with Mourinho making the specific request. Football is a strange and circular game sometimes. The injury concern. What makes this complicated? Now, let us be honest about the difficult part of this conversation. Because as much as Arsenal fans love Calafiori, and as much as he has shown his quality when fit, there's a real and serious injury concern around him that cannot be ignored. In his last 2 seasons, Calafiori has missed 44 games through injury for club and country. 44 games. That is a significant number of absences for any player. For a defender who is supposed to be a regular starter in a team with the ambitions Arsenal have, it creates genuine problems. You cannot build your defensive system around a player who is unavailable for long stretches of the season. Calafiori was left on the bench throughout the Champions League final defeat to Paris Saint-Germain due to an injury. The fact that he could not play in the biggest game of Arsenal's season because of fitness problems is a painful illustration of exactly what this concern looks like in real terms. Now, this does not mean Calafiori is not worth keeping. When he is fit, he is outstanding. When he is on the pitch, he is one of the most technically accomplished defenders in the Premier League. And at 24 years old, there is every reason to believe that with the right management and medical support, his injury issues can be reduced. But it does create a situation where some people at Arsenal might be more open to listening to offers than they would be for a player with a completely clean injury record. And that is exactly the kind of opening Real Madrid will look to exploit. Do you think Arsenal should keep Calafiori regardless of the Real Madrid interest? Or do the injury concerns make you think a sale might be worth considering? This is a real debate, and we want to hear both sides. What Arsenal are saying, not for sale. So what is Arsenal's current position on all of this? Transfer insider Graham Bailey has revealed that Arsenal have been clear with their stance. Calafiori is not for sale. There has been nothing since then to suggest that stance has softened. Given that Calafiori is contracted to the Gunners until 2029, Arsenal are in a very strong negotiating position. Arsenal do not have to sell. Calafiori has 4 years remaining on his contract. He is not demanding a move. He is not agitating to leave. Arsenal can simply say no, and that should be the end of the conversation. And Arteta values Calafiori enormously. This is not a player who has fallen out of favor or lost the trust of the manager. When fit, Calafiori is one of the first names on Arteta's team sheet at left back or covering at center back. He is part of the plan. He is part of how Arsenal want to play next season and beyond. Arsenal want to strengthen at the back, and Eintracht Frankfurt left back Nathaniel Brown is a target. Piero Hincapié has also played there, and Arsenal could be open to selling Calafiori if they sign Brown or another player in the position. So there is a scenario. If Arsenal bring in a top-quality left-back replacement first, the conversation about Calafiori might change. But right now, without that replacement in place, selling Calafiori would leave Arsenal dangerously thin in that position, and that is something Arteta will absolutely not allow. The not-for-sale stance makes complete sense, and Arsenal fans should feel reassured that the club appears firm on this point. Mourinho and his defensive blueprint. Why Calafiori fits perfectly. Let's think about why Mourinho specifically wants Calafiori. Because understanding the manager's motivation tells us a lot about how seriously Real Madrid are likely to pursue this. Mourinho has always built his teams from a solid defensive foundation. His best teams at Chelsea, Inter, and Real Madrid in his first spell were all characterized by being incredibly hard to beat. Organized, disciplined, difficult to break down. He has won trophies everywhere he has gone, partly because of how effectively he makes his teams defend. Mourinho admires Calafiori's versatility in particular, considering he is a center-back by trade, but has proven to be a top-class left-back for Arsenal as well. For Mourinho, building a new defensive unit at Real Madrid, a player who can cover multiple positions across the backline, is priceless. Real Madrid's defense has been one of their main problems this season. They have been too easy to play through, too vulnerable, and Mourinho will want to change that immediately. Calafiori's ability to read the game, to play out from the back, to cover ground, and make intelligent defensive decisions fits everything Mourinho would want in a modern defender. He is not just strong and physical. He is smart. He understands football at a deep level. And at 24 years old, he could be the kind of player who anchors a rebuilt Real Madrid defense for years to come. That is the vision Mourinho has, and it is a genuinely compelling one from his perspective. The question is whether Mourinho's vision for Calafiori at Real Madrid is more compelling than Arteta's vision for him at Arsenal. And based on everything we have seen from Arteta in this project, we do not think it is. But Mourinho will be very persuasive. The bigger picture, what Real Madrid targeting Arsenal players tells us. Here is something worth stepping back and appreciating. Real Madrid, one of the biggest clubs in the history of football, are targeting an Arsenal defender. Mourinho, one of the most decorated managers of his generation, is specifically requesting an Arsenal player as part of his rebuild. 2 or 3 years ago, would that sentence have felt normal? Would it have felt like something that obviously made sense? Because it tells you where Arsenal are now. When the giants of European football are looking at your squad and identifying players they want, it means your squad has reached a level of quality that demands attention. It means the players Arteta has brought in and developed are genuinely recognized as among the best in European football. This is a mark of how far Arsenal have come. It is uncomfortable because it brings the threat of losing a valued player. But it is also a sign of progress that should fill every Arsenal fan with real pride. Arsenal are a club that the biggest managers in the world are watching and targeting. That is where this club now stands. How Arsenal should respond. So what should Arsenal actually do here? The answer is straightforward, but requires discipline and clarity. Arsenal should hold their ground. Calafiori is not for sale. He is under contract until 2029. He is valued by the manager. He is a key part of how this team plays. Real Madrid can come with an offer if they choose to, But Arsenal have absolutely no obligation to sell, and they should make that clear early and firmly. If Real Madrid come with a truly extraordinary offer, something that is well above market value and that genuinely makes financial sense for the club's long-term planning, then maybe that conversation becomes more nuanced. But right now, with Arteta building a squad to defend the Premier League title and go back and win the Champions League next season, selling a quality versatile defender would be a step backwards. Arsenal have already shown the ability to say no to big clubs when the timing is not right. They should do the same here. And Calafiori himself showed 2 summers ago that when he has a choice, he chooses Arsenal. That loyalty matters, and it should be respected, with the club standing firm and making him feel valued. The fans matter too. One more thing worth saying. Arsenal fans play a role in this too. The atmosphere in the stadium, the support for every player in the squad, the connection between the fan base and the players they see representing the club every week, all of that contributes to making Arsenal a place where players want to stay. After what we saw with the Gabriel shirt sale story recently, this Arsenal fan base has shown that they know how to make their players feel loved. Calafiori, who chose Arsenal over Real Madrid once before, needs to feel that love from the supporters and the club every single day. He needs to feel like there is no better place for him to be than at the Emirates, playing for Arteta and fighting for this football club. That is how you keep your best players. Not just with contracts and money, with genuine belonging. And Arsenal fans are very capable of giving players that feeling. Final thoughts. The Jose Mourinho Real Madrid story was already huge news for football. The return of one of the most famous managers in the game to one of the most famous clubs in the world is the kind of story that dominates every conversation in football for weeks. But for Arsenal fans, the most important part of that story right now is not Mourinho himself. It is the name he has put on his transfer wish list. Mourinho specifically requested Calafiori alongside Dumfries and Konate as part of his defensive overhaul at Real Madrid. That request is a compliment to Calafiori and a reflection of how good he is. It is also a challenge for Arsenal to stand firm, protect one of their most important players, and send a clear message that this squad is not available for others to pick apart. The not-for-sale stance is the right one. Arsenal should hold it firmly. And if Real Madrid push hard, Arsenal should push back harder. Because Calafiori belongs at Arsenal. He chose this club when he could have gone elsewhere. The club should repay that loyalty by fighting to keep him. Thank you so much for following this post on Wenger Arsenal Daily. This community is built by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans, and we are grateful for every single one of you who reads, shares, and joins the conversation. For the most honest and most trusted Arsenal content anywhere on the internet, please go and subscribe to the Wenger Arsenal Daily YouTube channel right now. We are there every week covering everything that matters to Gunners at the highest level. Now tell us in the comments, are you worried about losing Calafiori to Real Madrid and Mourinho? Do you think Arsenal can and should keep him? And what would you say to Real Madrid if they came with a huge offer? This is your community. Let's talk about it. We are Arsenal, and we do not sell our best players to anyone. See you in the next one on Wenger Arsenal Daily.